Okay, hey guys. Game two, back at it again. Again, it's me, Kurai. Quarantine day 4. Here to break down another game. We are on game 2 for Machi Esports versus Team Flash. Immediately, we go through the pick and bans, which are on Machi's side. They opt the bans, so they keep on the set ban, which tells me that they might go for an Orn pick here. The Galio ban. The Galio is pretty strong this current patch here. It's pretty uh it it provides too much for the team. Callista ban. Which the standard Callista ban. I think the only difference is the Galio here. Team Flash opting to ban out the Graves. I think the Graves is a great ban here. It's much too much to deal with. And also the Zoe and also the Varus ban here. These all just seem to me as bans that they just don't want to play against. Although they could opt to, well, I guess it's fine. I was thinking of like, okay, you could open up the Graves and have Graves for yourself. Because they are forced to either pick Aphelios, Syndra, Misfortune, what other good blinds? Yeah, these are like good blinds. They might just risk, or perhaps they don't want to risk the Graves getting picked away. And again, we see Aphelios getting first picked with Syndra following up. Common pick ban courtesy. Not too much of a fan for the support pick here. I feel like at this point, Machi Esports could just easily counter it with a mate support. Having a Nautilus early pickup, probably just a comfort pick for Team Flash. It's strong, don't get me wrong, but if Machi Esports plays it right, they can easily just poke them out with I don't know, Lulu. I think Bart will be really great against Nautilus, but they opt to go in for the Brick Crocodile and Rek'Sai. So mid and support is up, which I think is wise. Yep, mid and support is up. So now Team Flash should be looking to ban out mid supports here. That's the only way their bot lane can survive. Probably on Team Flash side, they are looking to get a Misfortune here. Lee Sin picking up for Machi Esports. I felt like probably Olaf would have been okay here. Not sure. I feel like, again, I'm not too much of a fan of Lee Sin. I think Lee Sin is okay. But I feel like Olaf is the better pick if you want like something like an early priority, early game champion that can provide a lot of gank. Definitely, I would opt for the Olaf there. Oh no, they go for the Aatrox here, which is kind of weird, considering that Machi Esports are looking to ban out ADCs. The good ones, are Misfortune. They might look to ban out Caitlyn as well. I can't think of any good ADCs on top of my head. Varus is banned. Callista's banned. I doubt they'll go for Kaisa. Now, it could be a Syndra bot. We'll see. Azir getting banned on the side of Team Flash. Now, it's weird to me because I don't think you have to pick your Aatrox here first. I feel like for top lane wise, there's just too much champion picks that you could play against into the Renekton. You could go for the Lucian pick here, although I don't think it's too good. You could go for Ornn. So they could ban Ornn, and they could ban Ornn, and they could ban let's see, Aatrox here. But then that leaves up Misfortune. Misfortune is definitely a good pick into Team Flash. Weird Rek'Sai ban. Well, not really weird. It's a good pick into Lee Sin. Works really well. The matchup is quite favorite towards Rek'Sai, as Lee Sin could just if Lee Sin tries to escape, Rek'Sai, if timed correctly, has a really good knockup. But against us, but I digress. I think Team Flash probably did not have to pick the Aatrox this early. You could even go for Kennen. I think Cannon's fine here. Again, Ornn is fine. You can't really ban 3, right? So there's like Cannon, Ornn, and Aatrox. If they ban 2, they'll pick the other one. Interesting bans coming from Team Flash. They are banning the... You almost never want to ban Azir and Corki on the same side, because you are always bound to get one, and you would not want the enemy to get the other. I feel like if you guys are into LPL, there's a lot of matches where Corki and Azir has been played. I feel like results show that it is Corki favored, at least by win rate. Hence why, like, when you ban Azir, you would likely be looking to already have Corki, or you are gonna pick Corki. Doing this just tells me that Team Flash is trying to go for a really aggressive early fight, and perhaps they don't want to let Machi Esports have a scaling comp with the affiliates picking. But it's weird because like they already have Renekton and Lee Sin, which also tells me that okay, they might want to contest for the early game here. Just really weird signals coming around from this pick ban. Let's see what I feel like this should be a misfortune ban. No, it's the jungle ban. Perhaps Machi Esports is thinking, okay, that Syndra might be balling, so it's futile to actually ban misfortune. But I still think it's good, because you actually limit out their options. I feel like again, it's not the worst options to ban junglers here, because again, Team Flash does not have a jungle pick yet. So banning out Rek'Sai and Skarner as a decent Lee Sin counters aren't too bad, but of course there's Olaf that's still open. There's you could go for Sejuani as well. I think Sejuani is still pretty good. I think Fiddlesticks is pretty good. I don't know about people who are opposed to that opinion, but I think Fiddlesticks is pretty decent. We'll see what Elise is still open up for grabs, although I think Elise is pretty bad as a champion in competitive, and I'll explain why. In solo queue, Elise is really good because you have there's the Olaf. You have the element of surprise as Elise. You can tower dive better, but as in competitive, it's pretty hard to actually commit to a dive here. Okay, I want to expect a Bard here. A Bard or Lulu seems really good here. You want to have maybe. I think Tahm Kench could work here too. But again, then Machi Esports is kind of in a place where their team comp is kind of weird, because they are kind of having like a 50-50. Well, not 50-50, but they're kind of having like a mixed deck here, where they're kind of having like a blue, kind of having like a black and a let's see, red. And hopefully the last pick will be white. By red, it means really aggressive. You want to play early game. By black, it means you need resources to be focused for you. Blue means playing for the controlled late game. And white is just adjustable to almost any color. So lock in the LeBlanc. The Syndra matchup is pretty decent, and that's not what I like to see. That is not a Bard, although I don't think it's the worst. I think Thresh is fair here. I still feel like you could probably go for a Lulu here. So let me explain this a bit. If you pick Lulu here, now a lot of people would probably argue it's like, oh, but if you pick Lulu, she just dies in lane. Well, just don't fucking get hooked. Mind your positioning and harass whenever what's his name? Nihilus wants to gank, and you play bot side. That's how you play Lulu against. That's how you place enhancers versus tanks. You play the side they are on, because you always win lane. Because 3v2 wise, if you play it right, the enemy tank support should always get harassed down. The reason why I say Machi Esports has a really weird comp is that I feel like Renekton as a champion needs attention. I feel like LeBlanc as a champion also needs attention. And then you have Aphelios, which also kind of needs attention. So I don't know how Lee Sin is going to play this out. For Team Flash's side, Syndra is really well off by herself. Of course, the 2v2 with, Olaf and Syndra is incredibly strong. I think it's probably one of the strongest duos. pre-6 and post-6. Aatrox is fine doing on his own because he has pretty decent wave clear. Oh, looks like it is going to be a Syndra bot. Misfortune not looking to be picked up here at all. Wow. Okay. I still think Misfortune is a great champion. But of course, going mages into Aphelios, into scaling bot lanes is never a bad case. Because, you get... So, mages bot lanes, they get their power spike, so to say, especially for Syndra. Syndra has a pretty decent itemization. She could go for GLP, she could go for Ludens. If you want to spice things up, which I don't recommend, you could also go for Lost Chapter into double rods just for that extra spicy power spike. But they opt to, again, this matchup against Aphelios. Aphelios probably looking to opt for a... So it's... Okay, I want to point this out. It's really hard. It's kind of hard for Aphelios to itemize. I would assume that Aphelios probably would go for a PD here. Maybe going for... So it's hard, right? Because like you have Lysandra, which you want to get. You kind of want to get QSS or Cleanse for the Lysandra ult or Root or even the Syndra stun. These Cleanse or QSS is pretty good. Even the Mercurial Scimitar is really good. Then you might also want to get a Hex Drinker because Syndra is there. Lysandra is there. Nihilus is also there. The little magic damage that they deal. But then you also have to figure out, okay, if I get a lot of MR, I'm not getting any defensive stats for a Olaf, which I as a Aphelios cannot run from. If I have Severum and also Chakram with me, then that's fine. But if I don't, I almost lose every fight because Gravitum and the Sniper Rifle and the Infernum is not going to help me against a Olaf. So I think that Team Flash here, they have a really good comp. I wish they could have actually Syndra mid and actually get Misfortune bot lane, because that would be the dream team. Because think about it, right? Why would you have Lysandra mid and Syndra bot? Now, it could be a Lysandra bot. I'm not too sure. I don't know. But if it is, I have no idea what they're doing. They're probably trolling. But the idea of having a Syndra mid alone as your pure AP damage forces the enemy to not get MR against this team comp. So if you have Misfortune instead of Syndra bot and Syndra mid instead of Lysandra mid, the enemy has a really hard time itemizing because they have to itemize for armor for Misfortune, Olaf, and Aatrox. They don't have the privilege to actually itemize against Syndra, and if they do, they fall into the bait of going against no armor against an Olaf, an Aatrox, and also a Misfortune, which is terrible. I think Team Flash has definitely won this draft here. Looks like there's I'll just skip ahead because YouTube is great. Go straight into the game. Let's see here. Let's go all the way back. I don't know if you can. Okay, before I click anything, so I would assume Olaf wants to start Rit, and Lee Sin might want to start bot side. I think that is the key here. I don't think you want a 3v3 early in bot side. I think Team Machi Esports 3v3 is going to be poor. I think going for the Aatrox and giving attention towards the Renekton as Lee Sin is probably the wiser choice. So I assume that Lee Sin is probably going to start Rit into top side, and Olaf is going to start Rit into bot side. I don't... Well, there's a sort of alternate universe or alternate option where Olaf starts blue and heads to top side to defend for the Aatrox, but I feel like Aatrox should be able to hold well on himself. I feel like Aatrox's spikes, Aatrox's attention need isn't as much, because end of the day, Aatrox is Aatrox. You get a really good triple Q, and you basically did your job. Whereas Renekton, you really need to push your early lead as Renekton. And there's really no point to pick Renekton if you don't push that early. You don't pick Renekton to stale, you pick Renekton to win lane and get plates. Okay, Lee Sin is starting the right side here. The reason why I want Olaf to start red into bot side is that I want them to die for Philios. If they die for Philios here, it's over. It's fine if Nolus or Olaf dies. Because the key here is to keep Philios behind and get Syndra ahead in tempo. If Syndra is ahead in tempo, Philios is going to have a really bad time. Because Philios will never be able to get a BF back, or will never be able to get a smooth BF back, and Syndra would always get item leads, because you would always have Amp Tomes, you have Lost Chapter, you could get Cirque Shoes, you get Blasting Wands. It's pretty simple for Syndra to get items, or her itemization is pretty simple. Oh, I haven't even talked about the mid matchup. So the mid matchup here with LeBlanc and Lissandra. So Lissandra will eventually have the superior wave clear, but LeBlanc should always have the kill threat, or the initiate threat here. Early game wise, Lissandra is gonna suffer a bit because of the long cooldowns, and LeBlanc just has much more burst damage against Lissandra. But again, we see my bad guys. We see a common trend of starting corrupting potions to sustain out the lane. So I don't think mid lane wise should have too much problems as long as Caddy plays this one right. Oh, looks like they did swap out Team Flash's mid laner. Interesting. This is definitely a mistake by Stark. If he walks up, I would just walk up. He dies. Yeah, he dies. Yep. Just a clean kill here. Really clean. This is a mistake by Stark. Stark should know that they started bot side, and at this time, 2 minutes 50 in, he should actually get a ward if he wants to play that far up. Or just wait for the wave to bounce back, because the wave is definitely always going to bounce back. Look at this. Let me just grab my pen. Okay, if you look at this, okay, look at where Olaf is, look at where Lee Sin is. So, and look at how the wave is. So, Stark is level 2, okay? Stark is level 2. He's level 3, Q, W, E, all unlocked for the Renekton. You have no wards around this side, you have no wards around this side. There's really no point of waiting here, because look at the wave. The wave is definitely going to push up. Your cannon is always going to die. The red side cannon is always going to die. This wave is always going to survive, and it's always going to push in. You might as well just sit. You could even sit here, and that's fine. Sitting here is fine. Sitting anywhere around here is death towards the Aatrox. And you could also argue, well, you're gonna get dive, right? Look at where Olaf is, right? If Olaf is gonna start this side, I assume this is the reason why he started bot side to top side, because he wants to prevent a dive or a gank coming towards the Aatrox from the Renekton and the Lee Sin here. Of course, they should not look for an engage on the 2v2. I feel like the Renekton and Lee Sin 2v2 is much better than the Aatrox and Olaf 2v2, although I think Olaf is a much stronger champion, just by a slight margin, than the Lee Sin. I think Aatrox has a much weaker level 1, 2, 3 against the Renekton here. So, a common mistake here, free kill coming in. Giving the way towards Machi X. Oh, also the LeBlanc and Lissandra matchup. So because LeBlanc has initiator damage, or has agency in the traits, she lacks wave clear like Lissandra has. My bad. So Lissandra would sort of always have priority first. Making it hard for LeBlanc to actually lane as the longer the lane goes. Because LeBlanc would always get pushed in. She would be forced to use the abilities on the wave to farm. And if LeBlanc tries to go in pre-6. Zandra's outs, and Olaf should be around to drive by. This is fine here. Lee Sin. Now again, we just want to play. We just know. So if Lee Sin is going topside, I feel like that gank puts Renekton pretty far ahead. Yeah, pretty should like a slight amount of far aheadness, if that makes sense. I feel like there's no point for him to actually play around bot side at this point. Well, not entirely no point. He still wants to protect his Aphelios from the 3-man dive. That should be inevitable to come. But again, there's really poor vision towards the blue side for Team Machi here. The wave is pushing in. I feel like Lee Sin should stay. Let's see what they do here. They should not engage. They should just try to back off. Thresh should be looking to... Okay. Yep, this is fine. Really poor timing for Team Flash to engage there. I say this because the next minion wave is coming up. You could also wait for... So, again, I feel like I should address this a bit more. Okay? So, look at this, right? Now... Oh, my bad, guys. I am getting old. Hello? Okay. So, Lee Sin base, but Team Flash doesn't know. And at this point, Machi X's bot lane should be looking to play backwards. Team Flash, if Machi X decides to stay for these 2 minions, just wait for the next wave to come. Wait for it to push in, because this wave looks like it's gonna push. So let me just look at the lane state before. Yep, this wave should be pushing because there's 1 extra minion there, and it looks like, let's see here. Yep, it will definitely push towards Team Flash's side. Look at the minion, there's 3 against the 2. So, man, I wish I could have control over the Fog of War. So if Machi X actually just wants, you know, I feel like probably Lee Sin should stay until at least this wave is pushed in. So at least they're able to kind of push it in. But regardless, it looks like a really bad lane state for Machi X anyways. Because what's going to happen if Team Flash was actually a bit more patient is that this wave will push, the next wave will come in clump, and if Flash is smart, they can just hold the freeze here, have Nautilus tank a bit, let Syndra base and TP, and you will always get at least 1.5 wave ahead, if not 2. So I'll just let it play and explain as I go. There's really no point of actually going on this early here, because look at the wave. Right? Look at the wave. You're not going to have an easy time looking for hooks. And you don't want to push the wave back in because you have TP anyway, so it really doesn't matter if you can freeze it. It's not like even if they go for Drakes here, your Syndra, you can push out the wave pretty fast. You can even hold the freeze good if you know how to freeze the lane. You know, just keep 3 or 4 minions, preferably 3, 4 is fine on bot lane. And even if they do Drake, you can just rotate behind the small little bush around, and the wave will still freeze. Even if they go for a Drake here, Bruce is gonna have a really fucking hard time anyways. Bruce is gonna have a really hard time because he's gonna lose even more minions if he goes for a Drake here. So I feel like that's a misplay from Team Flash. Yep, now they do Drake. This is even so. Let's see. They push it in. They need to get a recall. I don't get it. Why don't you just let Syndra recall TP back, and then you secure the Drake here. You always secure the Drake here. You've already pushed in the wave. Instantly recall. Put a ward. Have Syndra TP because Syndra always wants to go back bot anyways. Syndra will have an item lead, and then just fight for Drake, and then you always win this 3v3. This feels like a variance play that doesn't need to be a variance play here. Yep. I don't think Team Flash needed to commit. I don't think they had to start the Drake. Mainly because they knew that Renekton has TP still. And they for sure knew that Stark does not have TP. Just wait out. Just wait for the Syndra to base. Let her have mana. Let her get some items and go for the fight. Like it's guaranteed that you guys will win the fight. Let me see what mid lane was doing. Okay, so if they want to start Drake as well, I feel like Lissandra should immediately. Well, okay, that's fine. I feel like she should have immediately pathed the moment bot lane pathed towards Drake. That way, if they start fighting, they always win. But I digress. I feel like the optimal play here is always going for. Oh, that was a really nice Infernum to grab him. But you know, just let the Syndra base let her get items. You could even wait for Caddy to hit 6, and instantly go for. Oh my god, this is really bad. She's running low on mana. She's desperate to go for a push here. Burns the flash. Again, like I feel like the chain reaction just kind of blew Team Flash's team. Well, not lead, but like they kind of messed up Team Flash's way, or the way they should play the game. Really good flash Infernum into grab them there by the Aphelios into the Recton stun. Well played by Machi X regardless. Okay, moving on. It's good that at least Olaf gets the Drake. I just kind of feel bad for Team Flash there because they don't even get a plating on top side. All they get was a Inferno, first Inferno. So 4% is pretty nice, especially on the champions on Team Flash. They have Olaf, they have Lissandra, they have Syndra, they have Aatrox. These are really nice 4% damage buffs. But again, I do not feel like initiating the Drake was the right call there. Had only Stark gotten one plate, it would have been much better. But Stark, not even that far ahead in CS. I feel like this is quite a bummer play, as you kiddos say. Oh, okay. Interesting. This is definitely a misplay by Mission here. It's weird. I say it's a misplay because the moment Koala went in for a hook, you knew that. So you could just use common deduction. Where the fuck is Lissandra? Why the fuck is Olaf and a Nihilus there? Lissandra should be around nearby, right? So I feel like Mission should not even be there in the first place. There's no wards. You always instantly die the moment you get Lissandra outed. And it looks like me by this play here, by how Lee Sin is pathing. Lee Sin or like Machi X should know that someone is around their jungle. Let me see how Lissandra pathed. Yep. So one thing to keep note when you're playing as a mid laner is that you should always learn to see which side they're trying to hover over. So look at where Lissandra is moving, right? Lissandra, after she pushes this wave, moves to bot side. So she's either gonna collect blue, put a ward around here, or she's trying to go for an invade. I'm pretty sure Gemini noticed this, and immediately was like, okay, guys, I think someone's in my red buff. We should play a bit more cautious here. This is also really risky. Why not just throw in the lantern? Just go for a check, and that's fine. I feel like Koala should have died there as well. I'm surprised he actually got away. I'm surprised Olaf was like, you know what? I'm going to run away from this one trash. Which again is really surprising. Even if the video shows Olaf is quite strong at this point, even with one death, because it is an Olaf. Olaf with Ragnarok just runs anyone down. Kind of unfortunate that Mission had to die for this. wasted kick as well. So this gives leeway for Team Flash to actually play out the game. Olaf just gets the red buff. And again, now the LeBlanc just slowly bleeds out because of the champion interaction or the champion matchup. As I said, like Aatrox is always going to be fine. Aatrox has perma sustain. He even went for the Ninja tab Ice against Renekton, which I think is a really smart buy. I feel like the Blade? No, Blade Execution Blade. Execution Blade is pretty fine as well. For the matchup against Renekton and Aatrox, you want to reduce as much healing as Stark does. So you actually want to look for as much trades as you can, and not actually just passively fight the lane here. There's also no point in trying to push out the lane as well. As we mentioned in the previous video, you are not going anywhere. You don't have TP up. As I say that, they start the Herald. So this is fine. If you want to push out the lane and actually do something, this is fine. But in normal circumstances, don't push out the wave for no reason. Especially if you're against a matchup where you can be winning. You want to stack up waves. You want to look for fights. This fight here is really good. Yep, you should go for the ult instantly. Fight it in. And a bit early on to the call to Meek there. I feel like she could probably hold the Q out for a bit, wait for the empowered Q, and instantly run him down, or at least make him burn the flash. I'm gonna play this at 2 speed, by the way. I just realized it's really slow. Harrow ticking here. Now, a fun tip. Oh boy, this is really bad. A fun tip you can do with Harrow. So the way that they use Harrow is pretty bad. The proper way you should actually be using Harrow is because they remove the cast time for Harrow. So you always want to use Harrow when you're either 2/2 way down to actually taking platings, or just for convenience two platings left, because Harrow will always do 2k true damage plus plus. If you use it this way, above 2.5, 2500 or 3k, there's a chance that you don't take it, and at this point here, you definitely don't take it, because when Harrow hits, he's gonna leave down the final plating at 500 HP. And when that happens, because of how turret plating works, the more plates you take, the higher resistance it gets when there's more champions. Now I can't see exactly how much resistance it has, but at this point, it's not terrible to do this. What I'm saying is that if you do the way that I suggested, it takes it clean, and you don't have to risk anything of staying for an extra 2 to 5 seconds. Now at this point they're desperate. Of course, they were like, okay, we have to get this for sure. Oh man, this team fight is so messed up. Okay. They won because Trash owned up. Okay, so here they crash it in. Double TP coming in from Team Flash. It's weird to me that Olaf doesn't just go straight in with Ragnarok, because I do not think that he's gonna get instantly popped, especially with the backup there. Oh, I didn't see the TP, but what I had in mind was that Olaf just rushes in, Lissandra just W's in with the claw, instantly murders everyone, or anyone that they touch. Because remember, Olaf has quite some sustain, and I assume he's probably taking Triumph. They win this numbers fight. Although I feel like Palette could probably make a roam as well. I think pallet staying to deny the Aphelios from getting the CS isn't too bad. Aphelios, if I was the Aphelios, I would feel pretty bad. I would even feel worse if this play was favorite towards Team Flash. But I feel like if I was the Aphelios and I see like, oh, my team is actually getting 3 kills, and also first blood turret, I don't think it's too bad as long as I don't die as the Aphelios here. Oh, and immediately we see another fight going on, man, non-stop. It does no breaks at all. No breaks. Now this fight is of course for... Oh no, they just took Drake? Yeah, they just took Drake. Let's see here. Before this fight, you know what? Whatever. Yep, they took Drake, and immediately a fight happens, which there's no point of a fight happening as well because Drake is down. It looks to me Tresh went for the engage. Actually, I can't tell. It looks like Tresh got hit by the chain from Aatrox and immediately into a Nautilus hook. Oh man, this is just poor for a mission. No cleanse, no Mercrets. Mercrets is really good against this comp here, but as I said in earlier phase, it's pretty hard to itemize against Team Flash because they have Olaf, they have Aatrox, both high AD threats going around. Yeah, it looks like Machi does look for the engage first. Now this is a mistake by PK. You are an Nexon, and I assume that you don't have any resistance yet. Your team is kind of behind, and you just dove into 5 guys. Now, had you waited for your team to actually reach a bit, you would be fine. But I digress. I also feel like this fight was also pointless. At least pointless by the way how they engaged, because again, remember, Drake is down. There's nothing to fight for in this match, in this fight here anymore. Even if you do win, you're not really getting too much. You might get platings, but that's about it. The turret plates might fall down, but again, the way that they engage, the variance of failure is pretty high because, the Renekton went in first, LeBlanc is coming on one side, their bot lane is coming from the other, and you're playing on a choke point, which, Lissandra's pretty happy to play with like a small choke point around here. This is really good for Lissandra. This is really good for Syndra. E as well. EQ is really good here. Aatrox is also really good. This small choke point here is really good for most of the side on Team Flash. Whereas Machi actually wants to separate them because LeBlanc, W in, W out, R in, R out. You want to pick off someone. Same with Lee Sin. Thresh and Aphelios not so much. Renekton, you can just be the front line for your bot lane. So-called front line. So the match goes on. Burnt Flash onto Bruce, as I mentioned, every time Aphelios burns Flash when your team does not have things like Janna, Lulu, Thresh is still fine because you still have Lantern. But every time your Aphelios burns Flash, when the enemy has so much lock-on engages, so much red that can just climb on top of you, it's a really poor next 5 minutes. Okay, getting a kill here from Mission onto Caddy. Not sure how that happened. I feel like that should never happen. But I assume Caddy just stepped a bit too far into the lane. Got chained by yep. Kind of greedy there by Caddy as well. Not exactly what I mentioned, but at that point she should probably just look to actually base. It's better to go home, spend her gold, not die. It's fine to lose like a minion wave as long as you don't die, especially when you're kind of hit. At this point, keeping the tempo is much better than having a couple of CS at this point. Oh my goodness, I apologize. I'm bleeding. Fuck, I'm bleeding. Oh shit. Okay, okay. Let me just try to wrap this up. I don't know how long this game is. I'm on 2 times speed. So on the side of Team Flash here, it's fine if they want to go for a 1-3-1 because they have the extra TP advantage here. They also have quite decent wave clear. Lissandra is fine matching against LeBlanc. So as long as it's just LeBlanc, and even if they go for a 2v1, Team Flash should be able to get something off top side. Cross map plays is really important when you're getting 2v1 on bot side. Or vice versa, if Aatrox is matching with Renekton alone, something should happen bot side. Yep. So this is fine by Team Flash. Them, having a mid laner that is, well, a so-called bot lane mage that is able to push out first and look for a side lane play here is really good if they choose to do so. Because they already pushed in, there's not much to do. There's not much to do to stay in mid lane. They can look to put a ward down. They can put a ward here. They can put a ward here, and then repeat the next wave push, and then further their wards down deeper into the enemy jungle and look for a side lane play here. Right now, it looks like surprisingly, Machi is looking on the defense here. But that's fine because they just want the Aphelios to actually get some items. It's not too bad. Yep, this is what I meant by pushing up mid, looking for objectives on the map. This is really good. So, okay. Remember what I said earlier of itemization? Look at this. Right? This is really tough because the moment Olaf runs at him, what is he going to do? Now, you're delaying your PD. You're potentially delaying your BT as well. For the sake of against this and this. Right? And it's not like he's trolling, but it kind of feels bad because of how Team Flash has their comp set up. Again, this is what I meant by earlier. I feel like Machi's team comp is a bit weird. It feels like they're just picking whatever they feel comfortable with. Just which is fine if you have a limited champ pool. But again, if Machi's team comp doesn't win by 25 minutes, which doesn't look likely, or doesn't get a really huge lead by 25 minutes, it looks pretty bad on the side of Machi. I'm surprised they actually got the kill there. Let's see here. This is well, I don't think Yijin could have done too much there. Perhaps he could have ran back towards where he came from instead of going to Lissandra. That way you would have been further from the LeBlanc. Oh, this is so ballsy by Stark. I don't think you should even do this. Not much you can do there. It's not the end of the world for Yijin getting caught. They do lose Drake there. It's kind of bad because it is the third Drake for Team Flash, and losing that means you're losing soul point, which means that on the Drake soul, on the dragon that's soul, or on the fourth Drake, okay, whatever. On the fourth Drake, you don't have as much pressure as you would if you had the third Drake. It's bad in that sense, but it's not too bad. Again, it's not the end of the world. So they can just let as long as they're letting the Syndra scale isn't too bad. It's really good for Machi X though, because they allow Bruce to actually prolong the game a bit. Although it's pretty... See, that's what I meant by, like, why would you have Renekton and Lee Sin and LeBlanc? You're basically saying, like, if we don't win by 20, we lose. We almost always lose. Especially against the comp. Especially against Alessandra Syndra. They had Syndra first, right? They had Syndra first. So why not just go for... Oriana's fine. You could go for... Let's see. I think LeBlanc is fine. Into Syndra, but I feel like if you have things like Lee Sin and Renekton alongside with your LeBlanc, it feels like you're just putting too much eggs into one basket here. And you're just praying to God that your Aphelios is a fucking legend. any kills or any delay that Machi X can get is fine. But because of how Team Flash's team comp works, not really. Again, I keep repeating myself. Aphelios is the only late game insurance that Machi X has. And with how okay. Wow, that hook actually hit. Flash is burned on 2 sides. Well played by 2 sides. But it looks like Team Flash has the better trade towards here because they do get the mid turret. So let me just check a bit on the early side. Okay, he takes red. He takes red. So he takes red here. Why not just go immediately to top side? Don't even do Raptors. Because if your play was gonna be top side anyways, just go immediately top side. And if you get this kill, you might potentially open up for Baron. The fact that this happened kind of let the Aatrox run away, and you lose mid turret because of this, because of Raptors. Because Raptors, in the side of jungler, it's fine. But if you're talking about team, the entire team, I think they probably should have just went for the just commit for the top play there. Because if you do, I'm pretty sure they get the kill there with the Lee Sin Insect. It's fine that LeBlanc doesn't die there. Okay. Stark, you're on the wrong side, buddy. Wait a minute, how did that happen? I'm kind of at a loss for words. Okay, so everything goes back to normal. Stark finishes pushing, or finishes his Crux. Does he look to overextend here? But Drake is coming up soon. There's no point of actually, Just play for Drake. Team Flash shouldn't even look to rotate topside, which is what they did. That's fine. Because again, Drake is coming up. There's really no point in actually going up topside, although Baron is on the books here. So I don't think Olaf had to do this. Although Koala did have to burn Flash, because remember, Caddy does have TP, and Syndra and Nolus and Lissandra in a Baron is spells doom for any team that's this Baron here. Because what's gonna happen is Lissandra just claws in, W's R, Glacial Prison, the area effect just hits everyone. Syndra, QR or QW, wait for a bit, Q into an R, into a multi-man E. Just terrible for the side of Machi if they opt to do that. Looks like they are looking to give away the Baron, which is fine. They are on Drake's soul point here. I feel like on the side of Team Flash, they have decent enough wave clear to actually stop the siege of Machi X. I also feel like Machi X does not have a strong enough ability to actually dive. Well, they do actually, because they have Lee Sin. I mean, it's risky. I'm saying it from a standpoint that if they do choose to dive, it's really risky because you are diving a Lissandra, you're diving a Nolus with Lee Sin and LeBlanc. They can do it, but by the off chance that they make it, it's pretty rare. So now, if I was Team Flash, I would just be looking to go for Soul here. Soul is really good on Olaf. It's really good on Aatrox, as I talked about it previously. As Machi X, I would want to push out my lanes and then go for sides. Push out mid, go for sides, get as much sieging as I can. and just look to get as much econ as I possibly can with this con. Holding on to the Ragnarok, that's really good by Yijin. This is what I meant by Team Flash having a pretty decent wave clear here. Top side is pushing towards Team Flash, but at a really slow rate. I feel like Machi X did not have the base. They can probably press the attack a bit harder because they do have Baron. Well, no, actually, maybe they ran out. Yeah, they started. My bad. That's my bad. They ran out, but if they did have Baron, they don't have the base. They can just push the assault. Try to get as much econ as they did, but since it ran out, basing isn't too bad. Spending their go is really good here. Minute 32, Drake's Hove on the side of Team Flash. There should probably be a huge fight going around Drake in a minute. Hopefully. I really hope there is. If Team Flash sets it well, right? Okay, what? Wait, why? Slater literally just ran it down, what? He actually just ran it down, what? Huh? You knew that, well, Team Flash knows that, two members of Machi X is around topside because of this ward here. This TP is fine because, Dragon is coming up and they want to push out this next wave and look to set up the Drake there. But I don't think, immediately TP and going up towards the Aphelios is the right call, especially when you know that there's two members here. Another argument could also, if you pull back to several seconds earlier, because Machi X actually has better tempo at this point. They're able to actually roam out towards the river, get some wards, be on the map first. Late recalls coming in. Well, not late recalls, but slightly later recalls than Machi X forces Team Flash to actually be on the back foot on this Baron. Oh, not Baron, Drake Soul here. Hence why Machi X is able to get the agency on the map here. By agency, I mean being able to put down wards first, being able to call the shots, forcing Team Flash into a unfavorable position. So it looks like they are gonna lose the soul point unless they win the 4v5. Okay, let's see. Nope, they should lose the soul. The next soul that's coming up. Olaf has the base. Kind of unfortunate. After this wave, Machi X should just look to Drake. Or, just get a free kill. Whatever works, but... Yep, Drake here is really good. So, at this point, if Lissandra is dead, or like Lissandra is not in mid lane, and Syndra is dead, it's pretty hard to actually defend mid lane. Although they do have Nolus doesn't really do too much without your damage sources, especially when Olaf is back as well. Aatrox does have some damage, but he does not function the way as a Lissandra or a Syndra would do. This is just being desperate here in defending this mid-tier turret. I think mid-tier turret is pretty important, but giving away your life at 25, 28 minutes, it's not a wise choice here. Team Flash could have just played the smart move and just say, hey, Koala, look. That's pretty cute. Koala was like, that's my bad. But yeah, Team Flash should just be looking to be patient, wait for the Drake Soul, play around the Drake Soul, push out the mid wave, slowly build up the vision, and get as much agency as they can towards the Drake Soul. Because after they get Drake Soul, it's pretty hard for Philips to play the game. LeBlanc's gonna have a pretty hard time as long as Lissandra or Syndra saves their abilities, or even Nolus saves their abilities. LeBlanc does not have a Banshees here. Just makes it really, really simple for for Team Flash to actually win fights. But it looks like although Team Flash gets the another fight happening. Koala, are you inting again? What? Not really. Actually, Koala played that pretty well. Okay. Bruce dealing a lot of damage for running out of ooh. I don't like the way Bruce is building. He has a lot of distance, but he is lacking quite some damage. He has damage, don't get me wrong, but he should be hitting much harder compared to what he has now. So minute 30 again towards Drake. I really hope that Team Flash just plays around Drake. Again, Air Soul is not the best soul to get, but it is pretty good for Olaf. It is pretty good for Aatrox. So just play around Drake Soul. It's fine even if Machi gets Baron, because Soul is always permanent. Even if Machi X, so that's the Banshee. I was gonna say like, as long as LeBlanc doesn't have Banshees, she's gonna have a pretty hard time. But Banshees is a really good buy here. But anyways, it's fine if Machi trades or if Team Flash trades Baron for Drake Soul. Drake Soul is permanent. Baron, you can just wait out minute 30. It's always a worth it trade. Looks like Machi X is going for a desperate play starting Baron. Aatrox, and yep, Aatrox is starting the Soul alone. It's fine. He has TP. Yep, he has TP. Yep, this is fine. Oh yeah, this is a clean for sure. Aatrox and Olaf just runs people down. Yep, the Aatrox. Oh, actually, okay. Let's see here. Actually, I actually could not see the fight happening. So let's see. So Aatrox takes the Air Soul. Team Flash. Actually, the Team Flash engage. I think Machi X actually was the one to engage. Yep, Machi X engages. Holds a bit short. Like try to delay the fight here. For Bruce to actually get the Chakrams on. Chakram is like on almost max stacks coming in. So Bruce is actually doing a shitload of damage here. It looks really good for Team Flash. Let's see. Honestly, that's a way too early out from Mijin. You just want to run Aphelios down anyway. I feel like at this point, Team Flash should just be like, okay, does Aphelios have sums? No, we just go for Aphelios here. Do we have to actually go for Renekton or Lee Sin here? No, because if Aphelios is dead, Aatrox and Syndra would always wipe the fight, or Aatrox, Syndra, and Lissandra always wipe the fight. Because they don't have enough DPS to actually burst down the Aatrox and they can just sustain him through the fight. The fact that Yijin actually used Ragnarok onto Renekton, meaning that he doesn't have Ragnarok to just run straight at Bruce, makes it difficult for them to actually kill Bruce. Katie actually just self-outed as well. Syndra, Slater using the out onto the LeBlanc, although it's a pretty good zoning out to keep the LeBlanc away. After using all these abilities, they do not have anything to get to Bruce, and Bruce just cleans the fight here. It looked pretty close though, I'm not gonna lie. Yep, they're getting 200 years. He had like 20 chakrams at that fight, by the way. 20 chakrams. One hit, you get like 2 or 3 hits. Like, look at this, right? Caddy. So, let me just write this down. Caddy, KD, Alessandra immediately outs herself, and also Renekton Ragnaroks. I can't see where the dredge line, the Nautilus out actually hit. Nautilus out going onto the Lee Sin as well. Again, kind of pointless because Lee Sin is always gonna die. I don't feel like Lee Sin is a priority here. If I was Team Flash, my priorities will always be Aphelios, LeBlanc, Renekton, Trash, and Lee Sin. Lee Sin at this point is just it's just obnoxious at this point for Team Flash. It's just an annoyance. If I was Machi on the other side, so it's Machi, I would want to kill Syndra, Lysandra, Aatrox, Olaf. Now Olaf could be 2, depending on how they play the game. But if Olaf without Ragnar, it's definitely a 4. And then lastly, Nautilus. I feel bad for supports. I think, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I say, like, it's 1 to 5, but some of them are pretty close. Okay. So this happens. And immediately a fight starts going on again. Okay. I was gonna say, like, why didn't they just out bruise? And I realized they didn't have vision. Going on to PK here is fine as well, as long as they can pop them down. Bruce having not the best guns. Gravitum and Infernum. Wait, why are they? No, don't run them down. No. What? I was gonna say, wow, did they not use out onto PK? And I realized, okay, it's because of Air Drake that their outs just came back up. Bruce without Flash, again, like if I was Team Flash, the moment you have no Flash, that you know that Bruce burned his Flash, it's pretty tough. Next fight, he's not gonna have a pretty easy time. As long as the cooldowns are used on him. Who did he? Oh, the Lee Sin. Okay. I was like, what? Okay. So Team Flash. Now Machi X. Again, the only way to win this is that LeBlanc needs to be a distraction. Gemini needs to be a distraction. Bruce has to stay alive in every fight. Renekton just needs to be the front line. Getting the items there is pretty good. Adaptive Helm and Death Dance are pretty good to be a front line. And Trash also just needs to pill for the Aphelios here at a very basic level. This is fine. That was kind of risky, but I assume that he had the spell shield from Banshee Eyes. Yep. Instantly dies. Again, like, every time he doesn't have Flash, the moment he gets touched, he dies. Ooh. Did they end the game here? Baron is the right call there. Going for mid inhib doesn't really achieve anything. Baron is a fine call. Although I wish they could take, like, a side inhib. Having side inhib at this point, at this stage of the game, especially when Elder is coming up soon, especially if they're able to get the top inhib, will prove extremely beneficial. No Void Staff coming from Lysandra. What a peculiar buy onto the Luden's Echo. It's not the worst. Just don't like it. Okay, Renekton. Looks... Okay, wait. Why start the... Why? Why do you start the Elder? You guys have Baron. Machi X is Baron. Just use it to push out a wave. And if what's their name? If Team Flash does this Elder, they can't burn it fast enough. They don't have actual percent health DPS. They have true damage on Olaf, but they can't really burn it as fast. With Baron on hand, Machi X should be looking to actually just push out a minion wave. Maybe have Renekton or LeBlanc to just push it out. LeBlanc has easy time maneuvering through the map. And if Team Flash starts the Drake, just look to go back to them. Get annoyance, because again, you don't want to hit on 5v5 as Machi X. You want them to be separated. Fighting against Team Flash, and if they do that, they always win fights. The past 2 fights, it's been a pretty separate fight. You know, there was a 3v5, then 3v4, then 2v1, and Machi X just seems to always win the fight in those cases. But again, LeBlanc should just be looking to push out mid. Elder does not die that fast. Like, trust me, Elder doesn't die that fast. There's really no point in this. Like, this play has too much variance. Like, way too much variance here. Now, of course, I get it. In the heat of the moment, you know, players are like, let's just do Drake. Let's just do Elder. We win this, we win it. But I feel like, you know, with Baron buff, you guys are just wasting it onto here. Because you could always look to Baron buff a wave. Oh, wow. He didn't even pop the... Yeah. Now, there you go. Like, they're like, okay. Because again, remember, if Olaf smites this, it's pretty rough for Machi X, right? So, yep, now they just get... Yep, they should just do this a long time ago. LeBlanc could even stay for Baron. As long as Machi X plays it safe, that they know that LeBlanc is mid lane pushing, and they don't go for a 4v5, you know, back off when they walk up. They should be fine, because remember, you are pushing the hands of Team Flash here. If LeBlanc just actually pushes mid, or even, you know, try to sort of push out bot, you are pushing the hands of Team Flash that's saying, okay, if you guys don't start Elder, we are gonna take your inhibitor, and if you do start Elder, we are gonna fight you for it, and we're gonna fight you in a position where we can have the LeBlanc on a flank and the Lee Sin on a flank as well. Okay, fight this melee Rup. So this is what I meant by, like, you don't want to run into Machi X. If you run into Machi X, you always die, because of how their team comp works. They have Syndra, they have LeBlanc, they have Nautilus, they have Aatrox. If you run into them, you always die. You want them to be separated to fight against Team Flash, and then you always win. Okay, I'm just gonna play it back one more time, right? Look at this, right? So, Caddy TPs. I'm gonna play this in 1 speed, so it's much easier for me to actually talk about it. Caddy TPs. Bruce immediately... I don't think he has QSS. How did he actually... What? I'm trying to look at the items. Okay, it was a Mikkel's from the trash. So, Caddy TPs. This is a pretty good TP from Flash as well, because they're able to sandwich. Renekton is in the wrong spot. I would much rather have... So, I would have Gemini and Renekton swap places. Because, again, LeBlanc and Lee Sin has much easier time maneuvering through the river. Again, you want PK to actually be a front line for Bruce, because, you know, Lee Sin is not going to do too much. The kick, but that's about it. You want someone to be beefy in front of you, and in the case where they could misclick, Renekton could be dealing AoE. I'm pretty sure Renekton also has Black Cleaver for AoE as well. Just much more benefits for Renekton to actually be around those fights. Being the front line for Bruce. I'm pretty sure Renekton is also much tankier than the Lee Sin here. So, let's see. He goes in, immediately gets the Mikkel's. Bruce almost pops the Lysandra, but Lysandra actually looks for a Zhonya's here. Yep. I feel like they should just run in. Because you know at this point, they don't have the damage to actually pop the Aphelios. Aphelios, if you flash in at this point, they win. You win. Right? Even if you like as long as you know you have your teammates backing you up, you always win because they don't have. Well, you also have to count the cooldowns. Like I say it as if like, oh, you could just flash and you could just win the fight. I'm not trying to say that. What I mean by like is as long as you know that they don't have ult, they don't have ult, they don't have ult. You know that Syndra used his stun. And if you still have cleanse, you know, which you don't, you can just flash in, look for a instant wipe. Because again, look at the chakrams that Aphelios has. Instantly team wipe here if he opts to go in. Because now Team Flash has deplenished or like they used up all their resources as damages. LeBlanc is dead, Thresh is dead, but it's still fine because you have GA onto Renekton. I think the Lee Sin has GA too, or I could be wrong. Nope, GA. Lee Sin has no GA. I feel kind of bad because like Bruce is full HP. Like look at the look at the amount of damage and healing he does. He has Chakram and he has Serum. I don't know if those are both guns, but he has the red gun and the white gun. As long as he plays the spells right, he is always able to survive. You know, Lee Sin can safeguard. Again, Renekton is kind of spawning, so Renekton can actually just be sort of the front line, just prevent him from getting hooked. And even if like I'm saying a lot of specifics, but I feel like it's fair for me to say the specifics because there's so many variants going into this game. It's 21-20. Team Flash could have easily gotten the Drakes way before Machi X could have gotten 2 Drakes from their own selves. Just a lot of variants going on. So I feel like having some variants in my breakdown isn't too bad. So again, I feel like after this, yep, they just lose the fight here. Syndra stuns. And everyone just goes back in. This fight now, some of you be like, oh, you said that he could just flash in, but you know, he just got popped here. Now he got popped here because he does not have any more of his chakram stacks. When he was around here, let's see, when he was around here, he had at least 8 to 10 chakram stacks going on. Now after his chakram stacks falls down, Team Flash is like, oh, he has no chakram stacks. We can immediately go in for the kill, and just press the attack. And this is what they did. They played it well. I feel like Machi X could have actually turned this fight pretty easily 2v3, considering how low most of Team Flash is. But Team Flash playing the cards right, waiting for the right opportunity to actually strike, and is rewarded by a victory on game 2. Pretty sure they end here. Let's see. Yep, they end here. Okay. So that's game 2. I will be back tomorrow with game 3. I might be doing game 3 today, but I am getting tired. I'm old, so I'll see you guys on game 3.